What's up, bitches? It's Sebby-Chan Gamer.
I'm Mister's.
You're Mister's.
I swear to fuck, I will hurt you. Alright, what are we doing, Sebastian?
This is... I just explained it, I'll keep it in, but essentially, not too long ago, Reid came up with the idea to do a podcast. Now, I don't remember why I wasn't for the idea, but while I was at work the other day, I realized even if I do get a lot of free time from work, I'm still so tired and spread thin from everything else that it'll be hard for us to actually maintain activity. So I came up with this brilliant idea, which is weekly we do a podcast, whether we're active or not, whether we have something going on in our personal lives or not, and if we keep up said podcast, we keep up activity, we keep up the audience following, etc., with videos or lack thereof. So we uploaded the Silent Hill 3 video a week ago, so this is marking the beginning of a new week, which will begin on like Friday, Saturday, I guess, for us. And we're recording it, and we're going to throw it up and shit, so... But we still might actually get the chance to record another video. Anyway, so yeah, we're doing this. We sit here and talk.
And I figured, just so we're not like trying to think of stuff to do, I figured we can... I mean, I know you've been busy with stuff, but I guess we could talk about each time, like, what we've played throughout the week.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been doing nothing but Evil Within and FNAF. FNAF so I can get past fucking Night 4, and Evil Within because, I mean, I fucking hate that game, but I want to beat it really bad.
Yeah, I've had that.
No, like, throughout playing it, I have developed a deep, deep hatred for it, but I have to finish it. Like, I won't let myself give up.
You have to finish it.
I'm gonna finish it, shut up.
He's gonna finish it, quote unquote. Let me cheat to the end.
I'm on like chapter whatever.
I'm on chapter what's its fuck. I didn't play much this week. I went and got 2 worlds and the original Fable, not like the anniversary where they updated shit. I got the original Fable, and it was...
Fable is gross. No one likes Fable. Shut up.
Like, the beginning, I mean, I give credit to old games. Like, the beginning was pretty damn difficult. I even tried the easiest difficulty, because, like Fable 2 and 3 are super similar, but the original Fable... they made an anniversary edition to make Fable, like, the first one, like, the other 2 that are all updated and completely different, but I was like, fuck that, I just want to play the original. So I went and got the original. And because it's an old game, it's pretty fucking hard no matter what.
Fable's for gays.
So I did Fable. I'm played through it. It's really weird. I also got 2 worlds. Have you ever heard of that?
It sounds familiar.
I got that, and then I played it a bit, and it's way different than I remember. And then I rebeat Halo Reach, which I borrowed from Daniel. So that's all I've been doing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Halo Reach is a thing.
It is a thing. It's a stupid thing. It's like a giant.
I remember playing it when I came out, and I thought, "Wow, this is pretty fucking sweet." And then I played which Halo did I play? I replayed Halo 2, and I was like, "Wow, Reach is shit."
Yeah, like my favorite is Halo 2 out of all of them. I don't know why, but I like a lot of like
people
secondary
like really
sequels.
hate that I have this opinion, but I like 4 a lot. 4 is one of my favorites.
Like I originally had the normally when I have the predisposition that I'm gonna hate this game, I normally end up hating a game. But when I did play Halo 4, like I ended up not hating it, which surprised me. I went and beat it, but I ended up not hating it. I just disliked it. Like
You just
it didn't have enough of a retarded effect on me for me to to fucking hate it like I normally do with games, but I just didn't like it. Like there wasn't enough bullshit. I mean, there was a lot to dislike about it. There was a lot of stupidity.
Oh yeah, I mean that game. If like even without scrutinizing, kind of stupid. But I mean,
Yeah.
Not only was it the first taste we got of Halo in a next-gen style, but I mean just the years of waiting, the gap between 3 and 4 finally filled was pretty heart-pounding.
I mean, when I originally went to play through it, one of the main reasons most people hate it is because like like Halo 4 and on, they're just milking the series. That's why Bungie dropped out. Bungie dropped out because they're like, we're done. It needs to rest. It's done. Like,
well, then how come Bungie put a lot of money into creating a studio just for Halo 343
like,
if they thought that it should be done? They didn't think it should be done. They just like Sony just like whipped out their dick and said, "Hey, we're bigger than Microsoft," and so they just like made a kid with Microsoft and abandoned him for Sony, and then they had their retarded kid Destiny. But people
because they're all about money. Like I'm talking about not Bungie as a whole abandoned it, but like the people who worked on it were like, we're out of this.
I think.
Like they're still
I don't know. I don't like how can you milk a series that hasn't had a conclusion yet? That hasn't had a
be concluded. I mean, like the only
was not a conclusion whatsoever. I wouldn't even call it a conclusion.
Why? The Covenant's defeated. The Forerunner. I mean, sure, you had a little bit to do in Halo 4 with the Forerunners, but it's like.
But I mean, it's like 2 and 3's connection. It was like, I mean. Yeah, part of the mission has been achieved, but there's not only so much more in this vast universe to do, but what is happening with these characters? Well, it's like saying they're milking Mass Effect. Sure, the Reapers are defeated, but not only are there countless galaxies and things happening out there to explore.
I don't know why, but my thing randomly muted, so I just missed whatever point you just made.
God damn it.
I'm assuming, wait a minute, I caught the tail end of it, so you're talking about Mass Effect and how it's not ended because of the Reapers, so continue.
What I was saying is that to say that, like, did you hear what I said about the comparing it to the connection?
Yeah, you're comparing it to Mass Effect. To say it's not
not Mass Effect, but 2 and 3.
2 and 3. I think it's. I don't know where else they can go with it.
Part of the mission was completed, or maybe the main mission was completed. But not only is there a bunch of endless possibilities, especially with the lore on what you can do. But, I mean, there's still, like, what's going on with these characters? For example, Mass Effect. They're not going to continue the character stories because, I mean, Shepard's series is ended. He's done. His teammates are done. They saved the galaxy from the Reapers, but not only, again, with the endless lore they have written, there's so much more to explore. But there's so many more things that can be done, and it's the same thing with Halo.
I'm not saying they shouldn't continue Halo as a thing, because they're certainly gonna continue it as a thing. I mean, we see that from Halo Wars was a dud, but that's just an example. They can go anywhere with it, but they need to. I guess I should rephrase it. I don't think Halo.
Oh, itself, you think Master Chief's story should?
Yeah, he needs to fucking stop. They keep bringing him back because fan opinion.
I'm pretty sure Guardians is gonna end it. I mean. The conflict between him and Locke is pretty...
I'm pretty sure they're going to get on, because they kept saying it's going to end, and then they kept going. They're just trying to do it for money, because everybody likes
it. When did they say it was going to end?
Yeah, I have multiple announcements from Bungie. They're like, okay, this is the final chapter of Chief. Guess what? We're continuing it. Fuck you.
Can you show me an example? Because I've never heard that before, ever.
I remember watching a...
physically, pull up something and show me.
I have it. Hopefully I have it in my not bookmark, but in my favorites. But I remember Bungie saying this was the last chapter, and then they continued it, which was kind of annoying.
Yeah, I've never heard them say that.
I don't know. It was some kind of.
It was like, what game was it for?
It was like right after Halo 3. They were like, this should be the final chapter of like Master Chief, but we still want to do stuff with the series. And then they brought it back up. It was like a dude in a shirt. It was like this guy, it was this white dude with like short brown hair and a sweater.
I vaguely remember watching that press conference, but they didn't say this was the last, adventure of Chief.
I think they need to, because I think the main objective so far has been completed. They have other stuff to explore, and they have their right to do that. But it's like all the prophets are dead. The Covenant is disbanded. The Covenant.
Yeah, but you just said yourself there's so many other things they can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Covenant's being dead. So the Covenant being dead and the prophets disbanded doesn't mean shit. It means one mission's completed.
What they want to do. I think what I think would be interesting is if they continued on, did you remember the trailer for 4 where they were talking with Dr. Halsey and they were going into stuff about what the Spartans were going to be used for, but since the Covenant War started, that was they're like, oh yeah, we built the Spartans for the Covenant, and now the military's seeing through Halsey's bullshit. Look at the Spartans before the war with the Covenant. The Spartans were originally made for suppressing rebellions, and I want to see them go into that. I want to see them go into that. I want them to see go into the backstory of what the Spartans are really for.
I'd less want to see that and more see them again dig more into the lore they wrote. Example being the Forerunners. I mean, that's some pretty in-depth shit that they still have yet to go into.
They did. They didn't do it in the video games aspect. I watched the movies. In fact, I'll pull them on Netflix later if you want to watch them.
I mean, I watched the movies and it explained it pretty well, but you don't see any of that in gameplay. There's plenty of shit where they can go into that type of stuff. Not like back in time or anything, but
with games.
You know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, I see. I guess
it's the same with the Protheans in Mass Effect. Like, they made this huge, rich, lore for the Protheans, and eventually in more in 3 than 2, we actually delve into what happened to them and, what they were doing. And, to the point where in 3, when we discover this, Prothean technology that turned out to be a stasis pod with an actual Prothean in it, and it becomes your fucking teammate. That was some cool shit, you know?
I think the interesting...
I don't think they should bring an actual alive Forerunner in the Mass Effect series because they'll try and kill everything, but,
I think the interesting thing
is...
they
did that.
How they have the politics.
In Halo 4, wasn't it?
When the Covenant was no longer a thing, I like how the politics between the races were still a thing. It wasn't just Covenant versus the human race, it's now all these races against each other. The elites broke off their temporal alliance with the humans and went back to just fighting with the humans. I like how it's not just Force A mixed up of many races versus Force B mixed up of many races. I like how it's each race have their own quarrels with each other.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me to see these intricate things, all these many intricate things versus each other for different reasons, rather than Mass A versus Mass B. And that's what kind of the Halo war was, that's kind of what the war was about. It was Mass A, the Covenant versus humans and some other stuff, and the elites went over there, and that was kind of cool. But I hope they go places with each individual race and they interconnect it, kind of with Mass Effect. Each race has their own quarrels with this race, etc., etc.
Well, in Mass Effect, that was done a little differently. See, here's a good way that Mass Effect did it, which is the way Halo did it. Well, a little less so, which is how they could continue because it's what they do with Andromeda as well. Races do have their own personal quarrels and shit, but essentially. The main goal of Mass Effect is all the races trying to band together to defeat one force, which is the Reapers. There are fragmented areas because, for example, in the first game, humans and Turians are a bit sore because of the First Contact War, where they murdered each other practically. The Asari kind of have sticks up their asses. Let's see, the Krogans absolutely hate the Solarians and Turians because the Solarians and Turians created the genophage, which prevented them from breeding, which prevented their population from going out of control, and the Krogans are a little upset about that. And, shit like that. Not to mention a lot of humans, they mainly make humans in the series, are extremely racist. A lot of humans are just not into the whole alien thing, for some reason. Though that's mainly seen in Mass Effect 1. In Mass Effect 2 and 3, it's been decades, and they're getting used to each other. And in 3, it's the big climax where you heal relations between a lot of the races. You cure the genophage. The Krogans don't really hate Turians and Solarians that much. The Asari, after saving their planet, actually their planet gets fucked. But the Asari are a little, they've always been kind of understanding, I guess. And the Turians and humans don't hate each other as much.
Right, and I think another cool thing to do.
So if Halo did something where all the species were battling, that'd be different. But I see where you're coming from.
I think they need to go into more depth with some of the other races. I mean, there's not much there.
But that would totally change the tone of what Halo is. Halo's a first-person shooter where you shoot at aliens.
They covered it in the movie, sure, or one of the movies, sure, where the Covenant gathered all the races, but maybe they should go in, because, nobody really cares about the Jackals or the Grunts. It's all about the Brutes or the Elites when it comes to the Covenant.
Hey, don't fuck with the Grunts.
Yeah, like it's like why, how did because these grunts are just these dumb little pawns,
Hey,
basically. The Covenant. I mean, I guess it was easy for the Covenant to
hey,
scoop them up,
hey,
but
hey,
I would
hey,
like to see like them
hey,
go into
Reid,
where they
hey,
what
don't fuck with the grunts.
don't fuck with the grunts.
Don't fuck with the grunts.
But I think one of the biggest things, besides like going into where each race came from and more into them, I think they need to. I don't think they're ever going to resolve it because it's good fodder, but an interesting thing for them to like an interesting thing to see them resolve, which would be like who's better, the elites or the brutes, because you kind of saw in Halo 2 how the prophets thought the brutes would be better than the elites because the elites had failed so many times against their enemy. But then the elites come back and kick everybody's ass.
I don't know,
So
man.
interesting to see if they ever come up with an answer who's better. Like, because it seems like the brutes are.
I have an answer.
Smarter, but the elites are
You're
smarter.
racist.
How's that racist?
It's racist.
How's that racist?
It's racist.
Explain, you dick.
It's like you whack a black penis and a white penis. It's racist.
You're retarded. But yeah, I think that would be interesting. I don't think they're ever going to come up with an answer for it.
So, I mean, to circle back to the original point, I don't think they're milking the series. Sure, they're going along with the Master Chief thing, but to look on the bright side, at least they're not, like, ruining it. Like, at least it's not god-awful.
It could get god-awful, but
like they're keeping the story extremely well written. They're just stringing it along. I mean, I haven't seen him in a while. I figured I'd talk to him. Anyway, so we were at 18 minutes. We just finished with our thoughts on Halo, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, to continue, I remember mentioning Mass Effect. So speaking of Mass Effect, I'm showing everyone my Mass Effect Andromeda screen.
No dick about.
I'm showing everyone my Mass Effect Andromeda screen background because it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, he's trying to transition into Mass Effect. I didn't even start a whole thing about Halo, but he's trying to get to Mass Effect. But I don't know dick about Mass Effect.
Mass Effect. Which is why I'm going to talk about it. Okay. Well, if you don't know shit about Mass Effect, buy the fucking... Like, actually, don't buy the trilogy, because... Okay, one thing I want to establish right now, like, about Mass Effect in general that I've been, like, itching to talk about, which I feel like I should mention to you if you want to get into the series, it's the DLC dilemma. Or, as I like to call it, the EA Dulk Dick.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever come in contact with this man in real life before he begins, if you ever say any of these, prepare to have 2 hours of your life gone. Let's see. Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, or Prince of Persia, and pull up a stool because he'll tell you everything.
Assholes in disguise. So one thing, like, because I want people to play Mass Effect, but I always realize this as I'm talking about it, and that is that, so we all know that EA is the worst thing to exist since, I don't know, I guess Hitler, but...
Probably.
Well, no, they're, like, I mean, not speaking literally, I don't want someone to jump
I guess
my
for
ass.
us it would be Dick Cheney, but, go ahead.
For Dick Cheney, that being said...
He's the only person alive who's in power that you can call a dick, and you couldn't get in trouble for it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's a window of opportunities right there.
He's still breathing somehow. He's just gonna live for infinity. That's how long he's gonna live.
So, Mass Effect. Let's start from the beginning. The first Mass Effect was a completely released game and bullshit, and they had a couple DLCs. One of the best ones was I forget what it's called, Pinnacle Station, where it was just like combat training. It was really cool. I don't think they were paid. I can't quite remember. But Mass Effect 2, they completed the game. It was amazing. Then they released some DLCs that weren't required, but not only were fun to play, but added a lot to the game. And then Mass Effect 3. EA felt like they should stick their balls in the pudding, so they decided that they wanted to have a lot more control than they previously had over this Mass Effect game.
Because it did so well, because everybody liked it, but they didn't understand what went so well, and so they're like, well, fuck.
Well, no, I feel like they understood very well what made it good, because Mass Effect 3 was a fucking fantastic game. But they also knew with what went well, they could make money off of it. So with Mass Effect 3, not only was the pinnacle of, all your decisions coming together, all the interactions with pretty much everyone in the galaxy you've had coming together, but there was character nostalgia, there was more development, and there was a good conclusion to all of them. Only problem being is they felt like you needed to pay for this. Not only did they release it unfinished and without a conclusive ending,
That was like the biggest uproar when Mass Effect 3 released was DLC. And if you remember Mandy, she hasn't completed Mass Effect 3 yet, but she's probably gonna be fucking brewing up a storm in South Dakota because she doesn't know that at the end of the game it says, if you want to continue the adventure, DLC, bitch.
Well, no, not really. There's a couple things. First of all, this was a very bad move. I don't know why they did this. They made one of the main characters...
Yes, you do. It's because of money.
Okay, a DLC. And that's the pro thing that I mentioned earlier. Another thing they did is... They didn't do this particular part on purpose, but the ending was unconclusive. It wasn't... People are going to hate me for this. It wasn't bad by any means. It was a fairly decent ending. Like, I didn't feel good, but I felt like I had a little closure at the least. Wasn't a great ending to a series, but it was enough for me, and I was satisfied with it. But then I saw everyone's uproar, and I looked back at it, and I was like, yeah, that was kind of shitty. I didn't really care. But then I saw the DLCs they released a year later. Now, they finally did fix the ending and a lot of the character interactions with Extended Cut. The Extended Cut DLC, which was free, was great. Like, not only did it make the ending more emotional and more happy, but, I mean, there was a lot of things that it fixed in general with how the game's character interaction worked. But then there was DLCs like the Citadel DLC, the Omega DLC. I guess a great place to start with the Citadel DLC.
Oh my god, if he doesn't stop fucking calling me.
What?
I'll continue. Somebody's trying to call me. I keep calling him, I'm busy.
The Citadel DLC was, if you play Mass Effect, you know the Citadel is the great space station where the Asari settle down and bullshit. Well, the Citadel DLC surrounded, Captain Anderson, essentially giving you his apartment, and you go there, and all your characters come around to see it, yada yada. But the reason why I think this should have been in the original game, and let's be fair to EA, it was a concept they created after its production, though the concept would have been in the original game if the game had remained in production longer, which, I mean, it would have sucked, but I would have waited a long time if it meant 3 years to get a really good conclusion. Fuck, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. But, whatever, it still wasn't in the original game. So, the thing that makes this something that should have been in the original, that I think should have been in the original game, is that not only was there like this huge just pinnacle of character interaction, but not only did it like in the game, like this is one of the points in the game if you have the DLC where you see your characters together the most, you're with them, you learn more about them, and it becomes this thing where it's like it makes you extremely emotionally attached. Not to mention that, I mean, the way it was done was so great. I mean, you saw so many sides of these characters you never had before, so many sides of the Citadel you've never had before. Not to mention, in the end, the, party you throw, where, your character's in a room together, and they're interacting, and you see them talking, and it's just, and then you have these really awesome, cool conversations with them, and you're partying and shit. At the end of the Citadel DLC, after going around the Citadel and partying with your teammates, you leave, not to mention the secret thing that I won't spoil that happens in the Citadel that brings, all of you and your characters close together, because it is fucked up. You bring from the Citadel this feeling of, these are my crew, they are my friends, and I'm closer to them before the final mission. And that is something that I think should have been included in the original game. Now it's paid DLC. That sucked. Then the Omega DLC, which was, Omega was a space station in Mass Effect 2, yada yada yada. in 3, there's Arya on the Citadel talking about how Cerberus had taken over the Omega space station that she ran, which, she didn't really run, it was a city. And this, not only was this DLC kind of short and underdeveloped, and I think should have had a lot more work put into it as a DLC, but the Omega space station was one of the biggest parts of Mass Effect 2. Like, sure, it wasn't going to be huge in 3, but, I mean, a mission to take back the Omega station, again, the central hub of 2, in order to put another chink in Cerberus' armor, which is the biggest enemy in 3, only made sense to be in the original game, but it wasn't. And I just feel like I should assume that they had this concept before the game was released, because there's Arya always talking about what she's going to do to Cerberus when she gets it back from Omega. I mean, that was just lame. That's also paid DLC. Anyway, the reason I have these, the reason I feel like I want to say less and less to my friends, you should play Mass Effect, or the reason I have to explain this is because these are all, I feel like they're really essential parts to the game. If you don't play these bits and pieces of the game that are included, it just doesn't feel as whole as it did. Like, I remember trying to play the entire series without the DLC, and it was fun, but it was just lame. Like, it felt like it was missing something, and you had to pay for this something, and it was just so uncool. So it's always a fair warning I give to anyone who I say should play Mass Effect. And I'm just praying to God that they be a little smarter with Mass Effect Andromeda.
I think the DLC in general has gone somewhere it shouldn't have, and like, I guess some people correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure DLC became a thing to, like, I think this is what it was originally for, and I think this is what DLC should be for, is it should be to tack on something extra. Like, it shouldn't be to add shit you forgot or didn't put in the game. I know some companies, like, many companies, I can't think of an example offhand, but I can find one later if anybody's wondering. Companies, like, release their game either shitty or not completely made because the people
Ubisoft,
with the money want it.
Electronic Arts,
yeah,
Eidos.
They want their game released now because fuck you. But I think DLC
Fallout
was
4, Post-Apocalypse DLC Part 1.
I think DLC was originally a thing, and I think this is what it should be. It should be a new extra thing you tack on to add something to the story. It shouldn't be the missing piece. It should be something extra. It should be an extra tack on.
Now, I want to be fair to EA again and say that these DLCs that I really had a gripe about, such as Omega and Citadel and the extended cut, they were released maybe a year after the development official, thing. Like, Omega and DLC were 2013. The game was released in, 2012. And so it's one of those things where it wasn't released with the original game, but because they were concepts that they had but couldn't put into development yet. But if Mass Effect had spent at least another year in development, which, granted, would have marked the longest development time in a Mass Effect game ever, which, maybe as a 12-year-old I wouldn't have been okay with, but in hindsight, I would have been okay with now. Omega and Citadel would have not only been in there, but, it probably would have been a much better game, and it would have just gotten a lot more for it, and unfortunately, it did not have that luxury. So, again, being fair, it is still EA's fault they didn't spend a lot of time into production, but Omega and DLC were things they decided to tack on. But these things they decided to tack on were so good, felt like things that should have been a part of the original game. It was ridiculous,
Yeah, I think when money comes into any industry, there becomes problems, especially when it comes to, art, because once money comes into play, then anything that would make, arts in general is perspective. One man's, it goes with the philosophy of one man's trash is another man's treasure.
You're trash.
There's also the concept of good bad games or bad good games, like games that were supposed to be good but that are fucking awful. Like Destiny's a good or a bad good. it was originally intended, and so many people thought and wanted it to be good, but it ended up being very awful. And there's many videos out there explaining why.
But at the same time, like, Destiny wasn't a totally awful game. Like, except I feel like Destiny and Mass Effect have it switched around. Mass Effect's gameplay was great and the story was amazing, but the ending and the overall arc was underwhelming. While in Destiny, the gameplay was awful and repetitive, and the story was like boring, but you know, the graphics were pretty great, and I think the story had a shell. I'm gonna say it like this: a shell of a good concept.
It could have been something. There's so many questions that are going unanswered, and since Destiny bombed so hard, they're not going to answer any of those questions.
I don't want them to. I don't want another Destiny game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like
they'll probably release the rest of the game in DLC. Ha!
Yeah,
they did, by the way.
So hard that they're not going to answer all those questions. I hate seeing this.
Oh my god! I just realized. I don't know how we didn't think of this. Destiny is another example of the DLC shit dilemma.
Exactly. Oh, but I hate seeing this. I hate seeing it with any artistic medium, whether it's writing, movies, games. When wasted.
Dean Koontz's Odd Thomas 3, now with Odd Thomas DLC. Because you said.
Yeah, but like wasted potential is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like seriously, I mean, I think like anything, the worst thing out there, even worse than a bad game, is like wasted good potential that becomes bad. Like Destiny, that could have been something grand, but because of multiple different reasons, it failed.
I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of faith in Destiny in the beginning. Like, I'm gonna be honest. When I heard about it and saw the footage and the concepts, I was excited. Like, I thought it was gonna be a fucking great game. But I didn't have my hopes up because I also knew Bungie's had their balls on the Halo formula for decades. And a part of me just knew, like I didn't think like what was bad about it was gonna be bad, but I still like had a subtle feeling that it'd be essentially Halo, but like Space Cowboy. And I was kind of right, but I was kind of wrong. But so like I disliked it, but not for the reasons I thought I would. It was weird.
Yeah, that goes without saying for many things.
But Red Bull though, drink Red Bull. You get Taken King DLC.
Of course. What was it? There's another thing. But like the next thing, if we're talking about gaming stuff, like one thing I want to tack on with DLC.
Why wouldn't we talk about gaming stuff? Isn't that like what we are?
Yeah, thanks, Genius. But I think the next thing we need to tackle, but before we go to it, I want to say something. But the next thing we need to tackle is like pre-release, like paying for pre-release, like playing a game that hasn't completely finished and you have to pay for it.
What do you
mean? That's annoying,
but
there's something I want to tackle real quick with DLC. I think, or not tackle. I actually wanted to bring something up which I thought was funny. During I think it was way before Mass Effect. There was an indie game that came out that went kind of under the radar, even though it was picked up by many YouTubers. It went under the radar, which was weird. It was a thing that addresses DLC really well, and it was a game, it's a side-scroller, 2D side-scroller called DLC Quest, and it tackles the DLC dilemma very well, and it's kind of funny as hell. And there's even a Mass Effect reference in there, too, which is pretty funny.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen it before.
Yeah, so I think that's a good game, and we should leave off DLC.
You know what else I just want to say? That I'm never pre-ordering things ever again. Although I broke that rule a few days ago. But.
Because tell them about your Fallout announcement before we move on to pre-beta playing.
The pre-beta playing? What the fuck? Okay.
Not pre-beta playing, but like pre-playing.
Pre-ordering. Buying a game before it comes out. And then
I'm talking about there's a thing that's on Steam and just like in the gaming in general where you can play a game before it's out, and it's just shitty and broken.
I've never heard of that, so I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, like, playing alpha, beta, whatever. Like, playing the pre of games before they're officially released.
Is going to bomb.
And that's a thing that happens. Anyway, so you were saying about, your
I wanted to rant about pre-ordering, but I was farting around the internet the other day, and I saw something new Fallout related, and I was like, sweet, let's check this out. And they're releasing, it's like a collector's item.
Everybody knows, you don't have to be vague about it.
It's a collector's item. That's it. No, it was like the Fallout Anthology, which is
Dude, it was fucking announced at E3, and it's gonna be a
No, it wasn't. It was announced at QuakeCon, and not everyone watches QuakeCon, you faggot.
People watch QuakeCon. Even then, the internet exploded with
QuakeCon
it.
is like,
It's even gonna be
3 or 4 miles
re-announced
from
at
where I live. I don't
GamersCon.
know why I didn't go. It's in Dallas.
But yeah, it's gonna be re-announced at GamerCon. So just tell them what the fuck you got. Everybody knows about it.
So I got the Fallout Anthology that's in like the collector's Atom Bomb, and it was like only $45. And if you don't know for some reason, which is why I'm explaining it, fucking faggotron, it's every Fallout game up to New Vegas. So that's Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas. All 5 of those in this like little collector Atom Bomb thing, and it makes a little noise. It was only like $46, so I pre-ordered it, and it's gonna come in like October, like the beginning of October, because
I thought it was September.
I refuse. Well, it's out in September, but I refuse to get the 1-day shipping, because I mean, I'm not paying like, $60 for something that promised it would only be 45. So I have the 3 to 4 day shipping, so it'll be here in October, like the 5th. But the reason I feel so ashamed, and like the reason I did this is because I'm not an idiot. Those games have been out for anywhere from decades to several years, so I don't really think there's going to be any, first day bugs, especially since none of them have online capability because they're single player games. But I am anticipating maybe some trouble with the discs. I don't know. Whenever I pre-order something,
It usually fucks up.
Well, not usually, but I'm always skeptical because I have a rule now that I broke, but I'm never breaking it unless it's something like this, and that is I never pre-order video games because, I mean, a prime example is Batman Arkham Knight. I was gonna pre-order it, but I have a PC. I play strictly PC, not because I hate consoles, but because I'm not gonna go shell out $400 for a console when I can, go buy a PC game. So, also Halo coming back to computer with Microsoft 10. Fuck you, Xbox.
That's because everybody likes PC, but I think
where I was going with that was that I never pre-order, which is why I feel so ashamed about this.
By the way, faggot, Halo's already, or the first Halo, there was already PC copies out there. You're just
no. I know Halo 1 and 2 were for the PC, but 3 was never ported, 4 was never ported, Anniversary was never ported. But they're saying
now it's gonna be ported, you big baby.
They said 5 down, including Anniversary, is going to be ported as soon as Windows 10. Well, not as soon as Windows 10, but with Windows 10. The Windows 10 is already out, so I'm like skeptical now. But it was a huge rumor, and it was very like vague. Like I don't know who let it slip, but the vague rumor was that with Windows 10 release, with Windows 10's release, it's also going to foreshadow the release of Halo games being ported to PC, which will probably take a little while, all things considered.
So the last thing I think we really need to leave off on, if it's the last thing we talk about on our podcast this week, because it's close to getting you to go and we're running out of time, but we need to talk about FNAF and how 2 things. Number 1, how
that's
it early, and the fact that we're playing it in October instead of soon.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like I get Scott's work ethic, and that's cool and all, but I'm not gonna play FNAF 3, not 3, 4, because I was promised an October release. No, what we're gonna do is throughout this year we're gonna play FNAF and get like 1 through 3, and if we're done before Halloween, we're still gonna wait, but hopefully we get done by Halloween, and then we're gonna do a Halloween special through the week of Halloween.
Why would we wait past?
What?
Why would we wait past Halloween if we're not done? That's retarded.
I said not wait past Halloween. I said if we're done before Halloween, we're gonna wait till Halloween.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, wait a minute.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a week of horror games, because we don't do a whole lot of horror games. The only horror game we really do is Silent Hill 3. And we plan to keep it that way because we're really, I know our channel is following the trend of Let's Playing, but I'd rather not follow the major part of the trend, which is horror games. because I'm a non-conformist, even though I'm conforming right now.
Yeah, you're conforming. I mean, but first of all, that's not why we started playing horror games. That's just a side effect. Why we started horror games
why
is
we
because
started
we
horror
like
games because it's
horror
fun.
games. Yeah, because like that's the fun, and like my favorite medium. I don't know about you. Your favorite, I think your
favorite medium of anything is horror. Like I love horror everything. Horror books, horror games, movies. I generally like to watch and enjoy those things.
Extreme like gaming YouTubers ruined that because of face cam shit.
They didn't ruin it because I mean, it doesn't make me like horror any less. I just don't like the fact that if we do what we enjoy, we're following the fad. And there's not a problem with following a fad, but the thing about said fad is not only is it dying, but rather than someone enjoying the content and thinking it's a couple people doing what they like, they're going to think, oh, it's a couple people doing what's dead by now, quit. It's like, well, that's annoying. By the way, it's pretty much becoming dead. I don't care how much money like PewDiePie is making, which I mean, you know, good on him.
I'm not monetizing this channel at all either. We're not making money.
We're not gonna make. We plan not to ever make money off of this. This is a hobby. This is strictly a hobby.
Even if we have like the 10,000 subscribers.
Okay, then maybe. No.
Yeah, but even like I think one of my main goals is either for this channel or at least my channel. I want to get that fucking stupid placard.
If I get that placard, I'm gonna make an exclusive Red2 video of me just jizzing all over him.
That's not who the fuck. You know, there's probably placard fetishists out there that would you would just skyrocket them. Red2.
Anyway, so we like FNAF a lot. Like, we really like to give. I think we give Scott a hard time a lot, but we
not really.
We do.
First of all, we started praising him, and then
we do give him a lot of shit.
Well, like the biggest objection I have is just releasing it because fuck you. And as I said, I keep.
Yeah, I mean, like, sure, it was done, but you had a
channels that I keep rearing into.
What?
An official statement out. Why?
Aw, gee whiz.
Like, I think if he does he's probably not, but I think one of the main reasons he would release it early, because all joking aside, I mean, he's done some dickish things, but he's done some good things too, and I think if he does release a reason, it's probably going to be some kind of emergency. My guess is it's going to be some kind of medical emergency. Maybe it's him, or maybe a family member.
Or maybe he had to pay off a boat. He's buying a yacht with all that FNAF money.
That's the thing I got from some back channels. Like, the consistent thing was he was trying to pay off a boat, so he just released it early. But there's like no official statement.
He's buying a FNAF yacht?
He's buying just like a giant Freddy bear yacht thing, or just like a giant balloon. So you can just float around the United States flipping us all off.
I don't care either way. Like, I mean, I'm glad the game's out. That's all that matters at this point. But,
Zeppelin that's in the shape of a bear.
But
he's buying, you know what? He's buying the Goodyear blimp from the Super Bowl, and he's gonna paint it like with all the characters and just fly around the U.S. flipping us all off with like money falling out of it.
So yeah, that's our plan for FNAF. We really like FNAF. We really like Scott here, and we really want to get into those games as like a main medium, as well as, you know, Silent Hill and everything else. We're just letting you know what our plan is for that. I mean, on my free time, I am playing a combination of Evil Within and FNAF to catch up because I wanted to do this. So, and why do I have to catch up? Because I deleted the game twice by accident. And
what did you do? What?
I'm on night 4. I got back there quickly, but I mean, surviving the Freddy thing when he jumps out of nowhere with his like black eyes and shit is annoying. So
he's having sex with polar bears too.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, I think that's generally what takes up most of my time.
Just, I always see when he turns on his webcam, he's all sweaty, and there's always hair all over his bed, and he's like, hey, I wasn't doing anything.
Get back in the closet, SHEILA. No one can know.
Phil's like on your tread. Do you still have that treadmill? Probably not. That was fucking hilarious.
No one understands our love, and they never will.
Phil's just in the closet with a camera.
Phil's right here, actually, but I'm not going to wake him because he looks pretty peaceful.
Phil, oh my god, Phil. We love you, Phil. Are you typing your love note for Sheila?
Sheila, come back. I'm sorry.
I'm just imagining that right now. And it's like, it's that anime. Have you ever played Casual Crashers before?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just imagining that facial animation when something's angry. It's just like, that's what I'm imagining Sheila. Sheila.
She's a Russian solar... polar bear. There we go.
She's a Russian solar bear. She's solarly powered. You can only fuck her in the sun. You have to go outside. Sebastian, what are you doing on the roof? Nothing.
Sheila, I love you.
I don't know. We need to find a medium that's like not.
Sheila!
We need to find. We need to find. This is just gonna end with polar bear sex, really.
Yeah, so that was our first podcast. It was very short, but like it says for an hour, but I've been gone for a while. I had to go say hi to my uncle, and I have to go to work in like 5 minutes. So
fucking super speed his ass over there.
I do. I have to like fucking walk briskly because my bike is broken. Anyway.
Damn it, Sheila. What the fuck? Sebastian,
Sheila, you got the wrong idea.
Sebastian, why is there fur all in the garage? And where are my tools? And what the fuck happened in here?
You'll never understand our love. Anyway, that was a couple gripes about gaming, and yeah. So
why is the fucking ceiling broken? Why is there a hole in the ceiling?
Sheila.
The chandelier's missing.
Anyway,
alright.
So yeah, this is the thing we're gonna do weekly to keep up activity. We'll probably try record another video tomorrow. Yada yada yada. Fuckboy.
The description for this just needs to be like just
Sheila. Sheila. That's it. It's just Sheila.
Sheila. Alright, so we're done for now. Fucker has to go to work, and I'm gonna go.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll definitely be keeping up activity. We'll try and make our next video like FNAF or something.
Probably.
Yeah, go watch our other stuff.
He's
Catch
gonna
you
upload
all
this on
later.
Today, wait, what is today? Friday? Oh, it's fucking Friday. I thought it was Thursday.
Say goodbye, Reid.
Bye.
The Let's Play Brothers out. Alright, that was good.
Sheila.
Sheila!